Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to the channel and welcome back if you are returning today. We are going to do our final coloring of the property page, which is the first page in Mountain King. I am going through coloring the first page of all of my new books I bought this year so they can all be mine. Some of them are title pages and some of them are This Book Belongs To. So, page is a fall page. That's the color scheme. Here it is that I decided to go with. I am going to alter, after we get further along, I'm going to alter the vine tendril colors. I have decided that that light spring green clashes with the fall colors. So we are going to fix that. So I will zoom in close now. We will start toward the bottom. And I used Hub to help decide the colors for these the ball and diamonds. And we will get started on those just because we can. He chose red, and I need my burgundy color. All right, so here's our red tones. These are fairly artsy color names. Okay, that's a tough one. All right, we've got a pink, a red, and a sort of a burgundy. Number 68 is Herculanum red, even though it's very pink. And then we have Scarlet, 70, a nice easy one, and then Crimson Alizarin hue. That's what's in the parentheses there is hue. And on my swatch charts, I did not make note when it said hue in square brackets, and that's number 589. So I'm working on my shadows on the left side. I did go through and add a little bit of brown as shadows on the left side of the leaves when I went through and finished the shading of the vines, of which that's when I decided that the spring green, decidedly too springy. So we are going to fix that. I will say that this coming week I have the coloring class Tuesday and Wednesday. I did get Paper Pumpkin over the weekend, which is the one video I do for my other channel each month. And then Saturday I have a card class we're doing holiday cards. So it is possible that I have 2 books left. They're very easy to my recollection, having not gone in and verified that they are as easy as I think, and it's possible that once I get my card class projects finalized and Paper Pumpkin done, that I will try to crank those out, but that would only be 2 episodes. I'll try to do one for sure during the week, and I might save the second one for Sunday. Sunday will be my day of rest. So we've got this burgundy shadow to match the shadows on the leaves. I noticed in my coloring, this is such a big space that as I zoomed in, a couple of places I actually cut the film out, just like 20 seconds here and 30 seconds there, because I colored like the last tendril or 2 that was off the page. So I will work on doing a better job So that was the alizarin crimson hue that was the very dark color, and this is scarlet. I may have already mentioned this. I am wanting very deep, vibrant colors. That's the nature of these. These are, I feel that they are somewhat Prismacolor-esque. I just finished Fred, a very large Prisma project, and these are very smooshy, waxy feeling, soft. They just feel very much like Prismacolors. They're very nice. I love these pencils, and their colors mix together beautifully. Again, they are overkill for being used in a coloring book, but I am giving all of my pencils some love, where no matter where they came from. I'm trying to keep the what's going to be the highlight area in somewhat the same place. I am using medium to heavy pressure. I want my colors bright. I missed one back here. Alright, the last color, which is the lightest, is a fleshy pink, but it is called a red. Herculanum red. And I'm going to start way up here. I wish I could leave a little bit of white, as I think a glint of white on these would be nice. I'm leaving almost a hint of white, but I'm letting that last little bit of white be covered. I could come back with gel pen, though I find that I don't do that all that often. See, just and here and there, like on the balls, I'm letting there be a little glint. I want them to appear to be round, is the logic behind just a tiny glint. I hope they look round to you. All right, so that's the bottom half. Let's slide the top half into view. There we go. Starting with the darkest, which is our crimson alizarin. Again, my shadows are kind of coming from the bottom. This is almost a brown, I would say. I am dealing right there with that funny angle was the curve. I almost have the little point designated there, right there. And I'm letting that show that way if that's how it works out. apologize for the sound here of my bracelets. I will hold the page down. It's the thicker cardstock cover making that sound. It is very late on a Sunday night. I made the mistake after having company and working on projects and planning for the week. And then I had a long fast, my monthly fast. I kind of just gauge when I do a longer fast, and they vary the length of them. Oh, that's the wrong side. Oh, hopefully that doesn't mess us up too much. And I'm always okay with a little, like this, notice we have the artist giving us one little pointy fluff instead of round. And that is when I mess up like this one, I technically messed up. I'm okay with it. I'll just leave it. So my fast for this week, I decided because next weekend I have the class that I'm doing. That's the 25th, and that's then the end of the month, and I need to get my fast in. And it was 42 hours, not quite 2 full days. I like it to be well over 24 hours. It's to reset my digestive system, which I am working on, and I find that fasting has been a really huge component to my eating healthy and getting my systems regulated. And I've never been a structured eater. I have never considered eating healthy, eating supplements, or taking supplements, none of that stuff. I've never even prepared food. My husband always did that. So this is just a completely new and different thing to try for health reasons, and it is working fantastic. I don't think I have ever felt this good, and I've certainly never been in this good of shape ever in my life. So that's been a nice change for me. Even my husband is convinced. He had his doubts, and now he is a believer. He's doing his own tweaked version. I have certain health things that are making me do these things, and he does not have some of the issues I have, so he's doing a kind of an easier version that works really well for him. He struggled a bit. It's a different way to think about eating and health, and he's not tracking like I am. I do macros in a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet, in an app, a phone app. And now that was the Scarlet, and now we're starting over here with doing our pink. See, I'm doing an Insta Smush. I just want the paper tooth, because this is such a rough paper. I like that these are soft enough to just get into the tooth and immediately eliminate it from the equation, which is great. some of these, I want the dot on the circles for sure, and just a hint of a dot on the diamonds. I don't really even need the dot. I want the dot on the diamonds very soft. I think that's it. There's the red. I thought that was a nice choice for hub to kind of gives it almost a Christmassy look. But we are now going to use some browns. There's 3 of them. A light, medium, and dark. We've got brown ochre 50%, 836, followed by brown ochre 37, and then dark flesh 748. None of these have been numbered, so these are newer ones, or ones I haven't used a lot. Okay, so now my goal is to turn these spring green branchy tendrils into fall looking. I'm not unhappy with the spring green as a tone. I just want it to be a hint. I want it to look more aged because it's fall. So these have a little bits of the spring green showing. And so I am running the dark flesh somewhat linear across the spring green inconsistently. Can you see that far down? Yes, you can. If I could give it somewhat of a mottled appearance, I would. But I'm not sure with these so narrow if I can necessarily come up. I'm going to be using all 3 browns, by the way, to give you an idea of my strategy here. I might even sharpen this again. This, by the way, is so already that top is darkened, and middle tone, which is the brown ochre, 37. Now I'm just going to do what I would call glazing over the top. These are really fantastic layering pencils. You can just keep layering and layering. I'm just knocking back that bright spring green tone, leaving maybe a little bit of it, glints of it here and there. I'm liking that way better. And then this is the brown ochre 50%. So here's the bright green, and here above is what's been knocked back to look more brown, distressed, fall aged. All right, I'm going to do the rest. The bottom half is not going to be done on video because I really want to finish this today. And now we have the browns. And the browns, if I move it so that the square is in the center, I am going to do the frame. The dragon and the birds will be quite simple. I do have a certain appearance to the frame that I will be working towards, and it will require I get a pretty sharp tip on the dark, which is the dark flesh, and I will be putting dark on the outer frame edges with the goal of making this look rounded. I don't even mind a little bit of wood grain look, but not overpowering. I just rotated my pencil there because I want some of the wood grain lines to show. Those will be blended in with my other tones when I get to them. I should have picked the farthest away corner to start working on. The circular portion of the frame I do also want to look curved, but still wooden. If those look like gemstones to you, that is how I am interpreting them. Just rotate it again. I want a sharper point. All right, because of the necessity to get these lines right, I am rotating as I go. It's just going to be too hard to keep my lines straight and accurate if I don't. I need my hand to stay comfortable. If at any point this doesn't hold the point anymore because I've worn it down too much, you will hear me resharpen it. Hoping that this will just be the one pass that I have to make with this color, and then I'll get to switch to the middle brown and it will all come together very quickly. Alright, it's time for a sharpen. I hope it's not going to change too much. Alright, let's switch. I am moving to the brown ochre, full brown ochre. Sharpen this too. Alright, so you're seeing the formation of the lightest tone on the very top of what would be a curved frame element. And that's what I'm after. That's very thin, isn't it? I am going to sharpen this. Going in the direction of the grain. Trying to get the tooth all filled in. Let's see how to do this. It might be easier rotated once. Yes, then I can pull toward me in a line. Love this little dragon. Can't wait to color him. He will go super fast. So I could leave the areas white that are white, but to stay true to my design goal here of not having any white, unless it's like a gel pen white, I want it more vivid. I have to do a little bit more of the brown. Around the dragon area. Okay, last color. It's the 50% brown ochre 836. I could leave just a teeny bit of white if I wanted, but not in the shadowy. These areas need to be solid. Only in the big spaces do I want maybe a glint of the white. This will be solid as well. Same with this. Smushing as I go. Keeping horizontal for every, matching the linear direction, and then matching the curve on the circles. All right, I think that's about done. There is our wood frame. Moving right on to our dragon, which I must rotate for. He is a gold dragon, and he is going to be colored very simply. I've got only one color to introduce that's new, and using 2 of the colors used in the leaves. So I think we're going to use these 3 colors. I'm adding, ooh, another fun name I can't read. Nope, that's not too bad. Medium cadmium yellow. I just can't read what that. Imit. I-M-I-T. Imitation? I don't know. 520. And yellow ochre, 34. And terracotta, 44. And I don't think there's going to be any opportunity for anything darker with him. But we shall see. So first, I'm going to take terracotta. I will sharpen it. I am using soft pressure. Soft, soft, soft. Just a kiss of this on this rough-ish paper. That got pretty dark there, didn't it? So, right along the innermost bones, the bone structure of the wings is going to be the shadow areas. And then we're going to do a little shadow here. Pardon me. A little shadow on the tip of his tail, and in here in the little curve. Oh, I did not color that. That gets to be red. And then the outsides of his face. And that's it. Then I have the yellow ochre. Notice I am scrumbling here, trying to blend into that softened, and then we're getting lighter. Again, want to give the appearance of some depth and curve. It's got pretty dark right here, so I'm circling it up to blend it out a little bit. The simplest gold accent. I don't want it to look like a plated gold, which is why I'm using scrumbling. So it just looks like a sheen on his scales. But he's too small to show actual scales. That little line is somewhat erroneous, but I don't really care. All right, last color is my medium cadmium yellow Imit, which is, I am sure, imitation, and I am scrumbling now. Letting his areas that I hadn't colored be the lightest yellow. And I'm letting a little bit of him be white, from like the brightness of the glow of his gold tone. and the very top here, which is the closest, if his back is a little bit rounded, that is closest to the light. And we now have our gold dragon. Next, the birds are going to be super simple. We've got this yellow. They each get a yellow beak. Okay, so I have to tell you a funny story. My husband never can just be normal. I'm like, okay, so what do you think of the wood color, blah, blah, blah. What do you think for the birds? He says, make those, oh, what kind of doves? Doves. He had a kind of dove. So, Payne's Gray, yeah, Payne's Gray 30%, 504. Silver Gray, 002. Did he say mourning doves? And then he wanted me to color that, which looks like a goose or a duck, goose or duck. He wanted that to be a phoenix. I'm like, I don't know, his face is not a fierce phoenix face. Starting with the Payne's Gray 30%. Keeping my shadows on the left. This guy has a little bit of a ruff, right? Right there. The other side is not in shadow, so we're just going to add just a hint of this darker color. Now I'm adding the light gray, which is silver gray. I hope this gives him a rounded appearance. The other side is the same. He doesn't have the same little ruff, so I'm going to color him a little different. He has little stripes on his tail, but I'm not going to give them a color. Heavy pressure here. It's very faint, but I am just softening these edge lines. And I hope that you can see that. And then for the dove, or the goose head, whatever this guy is, these could be lines. I don't know if you guys think that I should brighten these guys up. You know, they pretty much just have shadow lines. So if you think I should make this into a phoenix, would the phoenix compete with the dragon, which was my thought? And is a phoenix golden yellow just like the dragon? Or, you know, how would I do that? Should I even do that? I do have these little lines. And then we're wrapping it up. Oh, I haven't done the gems. I will do those really quick. Okay, so the gems, they're going to be red. We're at 47 minutes. We're going a little long. I'm opting for a very simple facet strategy. I pick a facet, a light, a medium, and a dark. They're not in the same position. I do need, since this has a wing, these are going to be darker. And then one across here. I think to truly do these facets in a more interesting way, I'm going to have this upper one be white. I might need a glint of, and we'll do, this can be red, that can be dark. I could leave two white. See, to me, facets, I'm just not really good at making that work. But if I add a little dot or two, and then I want the bezel, which is the setting that they're in, to be gold. This is yellow ochre. I do have a tiny bit of the terracotta that I can put wherever I want to kind of give it some depth. And then I want the bright yellow, which is medium cadmium, and a little bit of white somewhere on them, almost white. All right, we are done. Let's back up. I'm going to stand up. I remember the only thing I have left, and I thought it would be fun for you to see the difference, is the bottom here is the bright green. The top has been softened and turned into a fall tendril instead of a springy tendril, and that one actually is also bright, and there's the darkened one. Alright, that is it, folks. I hope you enjoyed coloring with me, and I hope if you don't have these books, you just pick your own title pages, and that this inspires you to grab any of your books in any order you want that have not been colored yet, and pick a nice easy front page from the book to color in, be it the very first page or any of the smaller pages like this book has. It continues with a nice page. Here is the next page I will color if I choose to go through these books in order, and I think I'm going to start them this way and then go from there. Again, I have about 8 total books that I will be working on, and then I have my secondary books that I bought used. I also did not buy too many of those, so those are going to get a different dot on the end so that we can kind of manage what we're doing. This is going to be a yellow dot or orange dot, and I'll probably pick, I have green, pink, yellow, and orange to work with. And so my newer used books are going to all get dots next, and we will start in on those. So give me your thoughts. Do all the YouTube things. Like, share, subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Again, next week will probably be a light week. I will try really hard to do 2. There are 2 Hannah Carlzon books, hardback books, that I have not touched, and they were actually bought 2 years ago. Brand new, and I want to get to coloring them, and I know that their front pages, I believe both of them are fairly simple. So until then, everyone take care, do your coloring, and I will see you soon.